right? He said, even the blind could see, right? Even the blind could see that you can't lose within Vision U. Even persons on a wheelchair was at the event. It is a space where people could grow, could definitely manifest their goals and dreams and whatever they desire can be accomplished with the
Wow.
right beliefs, the right work ethic, and the ability to be teachable and coachable. Because being teachable and coachable is an ability. Eh? It is a skill to be teachable and coachable. And I'm grateful for your guidance and mentorship, sir. And back over to you. Let's go.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. So we have record amounts, and we just have a bunch of new team consultants that just broke in Christopher's group as well. We have a lot of new leads. We have a lot of new champions birthing. We have a lot of new sapphires, rubies, emeralds, diamonds. The next 30, 60, 90 days are going to be absolutely incredible. And I was really, in the spirit, and I'm saying to myself, what can I share? What can we go over? What information can we go over together that can help raise the level of success totally throughout the organization? And as I was studying some information, I felt really led in my spirit to share this information with you. All right, so please, if you have a pen and a notepad, put a yes in the chat for me. If you have a pen and a notepad, I would love for you to say yes in the chat. Are you prepared to take notes? This is not a hype session. This is not a bouncing off the wall type of session. This is not a motivation session. This is a session. This is a clinical, strategic. This is a session to deal with your spirit and your spirit man. Okay. And I promise you, we're going to spend most of our time going through that. And then at the end, we're going to go through some marching steps to make sure that this week will be a record-breaking week in your business. Okay. So if you guys are ready, put yes in the chat, or matter of fact, type ready in the chat if you are ready for us to dive right into this information. For those of you who are brand new, this is your first training type of call. I want you to know that this is the type of value that you will be receiving being a part of this particular organization. Okay. We believe wholeheartedly in developing the people from the inside out. And we know without a shadow of a doubt, results, income, transformation, it will come to pass. All right. And I want you to realize the value. What I'm going to go through with you today, listen to what I'm telling you. What I'm going to go through with you today, I paid thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars to learn this information. Okay. And over the course of my time in the industry, I've invested tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to get to where I am today. And I'm sure some of you have done it as well. But you never stop investing into yourself. So I want to commend you. I want to commend you for taking the time and investing your time to be on this call tonight. Of course, you could have been doing anything right now, but you made the decision to be on this call tonight. Okay, so get in a quiet space. I want you to listen attentively. Open up your ears so that this information can get right into your heart. Okay, so let me pull up my slides here, and we're gonna start. Okay, now I want to ask this question. How many of you, and I want you to be honest, okay? How many of you have set a goal before and you did not accomplish the goal and you felt defeated? Let me know in the chat. And you felt defeated because you didn't accomplish the goal. Be honest. Okay? All right, good. So we're gonna really dive into that and be very clinical, and we're gonna clarify why certain things happened for you. Okay, so let's dive right into it, and we're gonna cover a very very powerful topic that we all hear about, but I promise you tonight is going to hit you different. I believe that 100%. Okay. So let me just reduce this here to boom. Okay, there we go. All righty. I'm going to log into my phone. Before I start, let me just make sure I am logged in on my phone so I can see all the comments in the chat. All right, so we're good to go now. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about thinking into results. Okay? We're going to be talking about thinking into results. Now, I want you to put a yes in the chat if you believe in this statement that you become what you think about. Put a yes in the chat if you agree and believe in that statement that you become what you think about. All right, so I'm seeing a lot of yeses in the chat. All right, and this call is also being recorded. Okay. All right, beautiful. So you become what you think about. And ladies and gentlemen, this topic here was, of course, written. I have been able to study this information from the late Bob Proctor. Put a BP in the chat for Bob Proctor. Let's just show some gratitude for this incredible individual. Type of BP in the chat for Bob Proctor. All right. When it comes to the mind and studying the mind and winning he has been one of the very best individuals to teach. Right? We're not talking about motivate. We're talking about teaching you so you can understand. Okay. And it's one thing to have faith, but it's a different thing to have faith with understanding. And tonight, the goal is for you to now not just to have faith, but to have faith with understanding. So let's dive in. So we're talking about thinking into results. How to think into results. This is not a secret, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to change something in your life, you must start with the end in mind. You've heard that statement before. In order to change your life, you must begin with the end in mind. So what is your end in mind? Let's just say let's just go in bite sizes. In the next 30 days, where would you want to be when it comes to envision your business in the next 30 days? Right? Another end in mind you can think about is within the next 90 days. Then you say in the next 12 months. Then you say in the next 3 to 5 years. So you want to begin with the end in mind. And I'm just giving you some points where you can focus on. All right? There are different endings for everyone. Now, if you want, all right, I read that statement already. In other words, do not think about your current circumstances. Instead, put your imagination into higher gear and think your way into the conditions you want. Now, this might sound very simple to do, but it's also simple not to do. Not focusing on your current situation, but focusing on what you desire and the end goal versus thinking about your current situation. I'm not saying that you're going to ignore your current circumstances or your results. I want you all to understand that. When we're telling you about, when we're sharing with you to focus on your goals, it doesn't mean that we're not cognizant or are we sympathetic about what you're going through. But I can tell you this, focusing on what you're going through is not the solution. You have to continue to focus on the goal. The goal is the exit. Okay? Now, that's impossible to do, right? It's impossible to do, which is focusing on your current situation and expecting to get to your goals. It's impossible to do that if you focus on your current situation. Look at your present results. Do not get emotionally involved with them. If you let your current facts control your thoughts, things cannot improve. I want you to understand that. No matter what you're going through, if what you're going through is not what you want and not what you desire, you cannot focus on that, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to hear me say that over and over and over again on this call so that you can get it. Does that make sense? So take your attention off of what's currently going on and use your will to focus on what you want. There was a question that was asked to the Wright brothers. Those are the guys that, of course, got the plane to go into the air. Someone asked them, what would it take for the plane to go up into the air? And their reply was the will to do it. Right? By the way, when they were sharing the idea or the concept of putting a plane into the air, do you know that people ridiculed them? Do you know that people said that they were mad, that they were losing their minds? Do you know that is exactly what was happening? People ridiculed them because they had the idea or the concept of putting a plane into the sky. I'm sharing that with you because you're going to have so many things in you, around you, that will discourage you from accomplishing your goals. It could even be family members, right? But I can tell you this, your goals are your exit. So let's read over that last statement. Take your attention off of what's currently going on. Use your will to focus on what you want. And then let nature take its course. Andrew Carnegie said this, an idea, listen to this statement, an idea that is held in the mind, that is emphasized, that is either feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. By the way, I don't know if you're sleeping under a rock. Andrew Carnegie was the person responsible for the steel industry. Okay. He said, any idea, by the way, he's a recorded billionaire, right? One of the first recorded billionaires. Any idea that is held in the mind, that is emphasized, that is either feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form. If you are listening to me, right? If you're not just hearing, if you're listening to this statement, this is the ticket. That's why I keep saying to you that your goals are your exit from your current situation. That's because thinking starts a creative process. So that statement speaks to you getting into creation. You were created in the image and likeness of God. You have creative powers within you. Any idea that's held in the mind, that is emphasized, are you emphasizing that idea? That's either feared or revered. It will begin to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. So that means thoughts can actually become things. Thinking starts a creative process. Your thoughts are seeds. Thinking creates an image. That's number one. Number two, the image stirs up emotions. Number three, the emotions causes an action. And then number four, the action sets up a reaction. If any of you studied sciences in school, listen to this. You know that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. How many of you remember that in school? Anybody remember that in school? If you studied physics in school, you would know that law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So let's give an example. You're thinking about your current circumstances. It's tough right now. It's hard. And you're thinking about the fact that it's tough and it is hard a lot. You're not even thinking about any solutions. That image is being formed on the canvas of your imagination. And the emotions that get wrapped up in that is one of defeat. It's one of depression. Am I talking to anyone here? Right? And as a result, because your emotions will cause an action, it actually causes inaction. Because some of you sit down and you do nothing. You sit down and you take no action. So inaction is also action. And as a result, no action, guess what you get in return? No reaction. Nothing will happen. Nothing will move. That when you're feeling stuck in your business, it's because you're thinking that you are stuck, and it is an idea that you are impressing upon your mind. So what we need to do, we need to reverse it. So when you're thinking about what you want, rather than your current results, the reaction, which is step 4, creates new and improved results. You all see that? Then you can start the process all over again by looking at a new result, adapting, to the changes that have occurred, and thinking about what you want next. That way, your life keeps getting better and better. Now, I know some people might say this. I have tried this already. I know some people are saying that, Gary, I've heard all of this mumbo jumbo, thinking positive. It has to be more to it than that, Gary. It has to be more to it than that. And the truth is, there is not. Everything we're breaking down here for you is exactly what you have to do over and over and over again. And by the way, even when you become a diamond, even when you become a diamond elite, even when you become a double diamond, even when you become a global diamond, you're going to have to keep doing it. I've tried that already. I know you have. You've tried this before and failed, right? We all have. Probably many, many times. By the way, I am not saying to you that in doing this, you are exempted from failure. No one said that. What are you talking about? Why should you be exempted from failure? I want you to think about that. By the way, just for consolation, failure grounds success. You need both of them. Failure grounds success. So when you become successful, you're not too proud. You're not too arrogant. Does that make sense? To me, failure keeps you at a certain level of humility. That's why when people see me and they interact with me, they pick up a sense of humility. Now, that also comes from my vertical relationship with Jesus Christ. That's really where that comes from. But it also comes from because I know that the success and the results I have, I didn't do it on my own. And I can tell you, I'm also reminded of where I used to be. So it keeps me very, very humble. Okay? Let's continue. However, if you pay close attention to what I'm about to share with you, you will know what it will take to finally break through. This is why I said, if you pay very close attention to what we're going to go through on this call, you are going to get your breakthrough today. I believe it wholeheartedly. Matter of fact, coming out of this call, we're going to get to 100 qualified champions within 1 month. We're going to get that done even faster because more individuals that are on this call came to the level of awareness. So let's continue. Take a look at this. Here is the bottom line. To break out of old patterns and realize a goal that has been eluding you, you must raise your level of awareness. I know so many people that have started and stopped, started and stopped, started and stopped, started and stopped. It is a disease. Listen to what I'm telling you. You see that paradigm of starting something and then stopping, starting and that is 95% of the world population. And it never works and it will not work. As you see in this illustration below, there are 7 levels of awareness or consciousness. And we're going to go through each level, okay? So there are 7 different levels. You have the animal level, you have mass, you have aspiration, you have individual, you have discipline, you have experience, and then you have respond versus react. Every person on the planet primarily functions at one of the above levels. However, according to where we are in our lives at any given time, we may bounce back and forth between levels, right? The goal is to move out of the lower, more shallow levels of consciousness towards mastery. That's when you are in control of your life and you respond to what's going on rather to reacting to what's going on. Let's take a look at the role each level might play in your ability to realize your goals. As I go through each one, see if you can identify which level you function in most of the times. Number 1, the animalistic level. At this level, you are in fight or flight mode. You allow your current circumstances, not your goals or desire, to dictate your life. You react to whatever is going on around you. Now, I don't want you to type in the chat what level you're on. All I want you to do is to listen, digest the information, and you can determine within yourself, write down the date and write down, this is the level that I'm at. Matter of fact, I want you to write down the level that you're at on a clear sheet of paper. And then by the time we're done, I want you to rip it up because you're no longer there. You're going to make a conscious decision to move from that level. Level number 2, mass. At this level, you follow the crowd rather than doing your own thinking or setting goals. You joined Envision You. Your friend said, oh, you joined one of them things? And then, maybe if you are, you're in work or whatever, all the colleagues start laughing at you. Guess what happened? You just move from thinking for yourself and you allow the masses to control your thinking. Right? You want to conform rather than create at this level. You don't consciously choose the things you want. Your paradigm rules you at this level. If you don't know what a paradigm is, right? Your paradigm is a set of habits that have almost complete control over the way you do things. It's a program that controls the way you do things. Some of you have a paradigm that has been passed down to you by your parents. I want you to pay attention to that, right? Now, I'm not trying to say your parents are bad people, so please do not misunderstand what I'm saying. We're talking about results, and results tell the truth. Does that make sense? We're talking about understanding the foundation that your parents laid for you, and you should be performing better than your parents. You should not be having the same level of results as your parents. You should be having better results than your parents. Does that make sense? So I'm not talking down to your parents. Just please don't misunderstand what I'm saying, okay? Your paradigm rules you at this level. Number 3, aspiration. You might follow the crowd for years, but at some point, something in you wants something better, something greater than what you have. You know you are capable of more. Many people become stuck at this level because their new desires are just wishes until they are backed with action. I know a lot of people have the aspiration to become a diamond. Let's just go with champion, to become a champion. But it's still on that wish level. So they would come to a meeting, they would come to a presentation. I am going champion, or I am going diamond. You were in the room in convention and you're saying, I'm going diamond, I'm going diamond, I'm going diamond. But it's on the wish level. It's on that level of you're just wishing. We want you to move from that level, right? Level number 4, individual. At this level, you want to express your uniqueness as a human being. You begin to dream. You realize that there is no one like you and you have unique gifts. However, every time you start moving forward, the paradigm pulls you back to level 2. The desire remains. Though you keep coming back to it, you get locked in the tug of war with your paradigm, which continues to pull you back. Now, and it's getting a little bit heated right here because right around level 3, level 4, many of you are realizing where you're at. Number 5, discipline. Somebody type discipline in the chat for me. Somebody type discipline in the chat for me. Somebody type discipline in the chat for me. This is some really good stuff here. This is some life-changing stuff we're talking about here. Number 5. Here you realize that the only way to move forward, to move towards your goals, is to give yourself a command and then follow it, regardless of what's going on around you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to have any major breakthrough, it begins at this level of discipline. You have to be disciplined. If you're not going to be disciplined, do not expect anything in your life to change. If you lack discipline, if you cannot lead yourself, that's why I made a post the other day on my Instagram story. I said, you have to become a leader of one. before you can be a leader of many. Some of you, you want to train people on how to go champion, but you have never gone champion. Why are you trying to do that? You haven't even developed the discipline to do it yourself. You expect other people to do it? That's not leadership in spirit and in truth. That's not leadership in spirit and in truth. That is not our brand of leadership. Are you listening to me? Our brand of leadership is leadership with spirit and truth, meaning everything we lead people to do, we have at least done it ourselves. Right? So discipline. Here you realize that the only way to move towards your goals is to give yourself a command and then follow it, regardless of what's going on around you. Listen, do you know how many times, I'm going to be open with you all. Do you know how many times, right? There was you don't have kids. There was a huge thing going on in my house. Maybe me and my wife had a disagreement. And no matter what, when time comes for me to do what I have to do, I am going to get it done. I am that disciplined. Some people, they plan a meeting and then something happens and they all of a sudden they cannot do the meeting anymore. They cancel. No, of course, if it's a life or death situation, that's a different story. But if it's something that you could just just put it in its right place and just move forward, then do it. But you have to have that level of discipline to break free. If you lack the discipline, and I'll tell you this, I see it all the time. I see people plan meetings and then they say, I'll have to cancel the meeting. Why do we need to cancel the meeting? Well, I really didn't get the time to invite. Wait. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Just wink if you know what I'm talking about. Right? I'm making a joke about it, but it is detrimental, huh? Because the paradigm at that moment is in such control over you that you're not even aware of what you're doing. And that's why you need to come on calls like these to unearth and identify what the actual challenge is. Right? So regardless of what's going on around you. However, as soon as you start doing it, the paradigm starts fighting back. Before long, your resolve starts to dissipate and your discipline turns into a wish and you're stuck again. You got to train yourself. Listen to this. You got to train yourself to follow a command to overpower the paradigm. I'll say this one more time so you can get it. This is how, because some people look at me like, like I'm a superhuman. No, like this stuff when I'm talking about here, this is exactly what I did for an extended period of time to break out of the cycle. So you have to get to the point where you train yourself. That is what needs to happen in private. Before you are celebrated in public, you have to discipline your disappointments in private. Listen to what I'm telling you. So you have to train yourself to follow through with the command that you are giving yourself to overpower the paradigm. Otherwise, you will be destined to keep doing what you've been doing and getting what you've been getting. Ouch. So when your discipline starts to dissipate, this is what you do. You must exclaim, no way, I am going to do this and I am going to do it now. Somebody type now in the chat. Somebody type now in the chat. Now I'm going to do it now. When that paradigm says, it's okay, just relax, put your foot up, don't do the meeting, don't make that extra phone call, you don't need to go to a next event, they're going to say the same thing again. They go, why are you going to another week? No, you know you be having these internal conversations with yourself. They're going to do the same presentation again. I don't need to go and see no presentation. I've seen it already, heard it already. You know you have these internal dialogues with yourself. That voice that is speaking defeat, that voice is your old paradigm. So you say, I'm going to do it now. And then step out and do it. Just do it. I'm going, Gary, y'all know Art Williams, you know Art Williams audio, right? You know the person comes and says, I'm going diamond. He says, just do it. Oh, I'm going champion. Just do it. Somebody type, just do it in the chat for me. Just do it. Oh, I'm about to pass you up, Gary. Just do it. Oh, I'm about to pass you up, Lisa. Just do it. Oh, Chris. Yeah, I'm gonna smoke you, Chris. All right, just do it. Right? Oh, Kenton, I'm about to go emerald faster than you. Great, just do it. Oh, Elizabeth, you take too long. I'm about to just do it. Right? Just do it. Now watch this. When you keep doing it and you keep doing it and you keep doing it, you do it until the paradigm dies of lack of nourishment. However, it will work only if the goal is something you really want. Don't forget that part. You see that desire to press forward, that desire to continue being disciplined. You're only going to keep doing it if it's something you really, really want. So let me ask you this question. Money is not everything for some of you, right? Because there's so much money to be made, but money still don't motivate a lot of people. It still doesn't. The comp plan says, we're going to pay you up to $1 million, not up to, the comp plan can pay out $1 million a month. So it can't be that money is your motivator. Let's just be honest. Oh, you can get to $10,000 a month in income, and you're not doing the work to do it. So it can't be money. So let me ask you the question: what it is you really want? It's not the money, it's what you can do with the money. And I need you to get emotionally connected to that want. And that's when you're going to press through. Some of you have not clearly identified what it is you really, really want. And I promise you, when you get to that point, life becomes so clear, crystal clear in your mind. Crystal clear. There is no back and forth. You see, when you get to that level of awareness where you're not, unsure, I'm not sure what I want to do. You see that double-minded man or woman? That is a place you do not want to be. You have to be crystal clear in your mind as to what it is that you want. When you're that clear, you're going to press through. You're going to press through. Number 6, experience. When you apply steadfast discipline and you see the desired results manifest, the experience gain reinforces your awareness and your amazing abilities, and you do more of the same. Guys, I do more of the exact same thing that I've done to get me to multi-million-dollar status. People come, people go. People come, people go. People come, people go. People join, people quit. People join, people quit. But I keep doing more of the same exact thing that got me to multi-million-dollar status. Experimental learning is real learning. It becomes unnecessary to gather outside information. At this level, you know that all of the answers that you're looking for can be found within. One of my favorite scripture verses in the Bible says that God has already given us everything pertaining to life and to godliness. Everything pertaining to life and to godliness. It's already within. Right? Number 7. At this level, this is mastery level now. At this level, you respond rather than react. You know how to think properly. Ladies and gentlemen, the goal is to learn how to think properly. If there's anything you can get from this training, it is to learn to start thinking properly. Now, here's a reality I want to hit you with. Some of you are not aware that you're not thinking properly. You think you're thinking properly. Some of you, not all of you, right? Here is the real litmus test, your results. Your results, by the way, it does not define who you are. Listen to this. It doesn't define who you are, but it gives you a real good indication of how you think. So watch this. Listen to me. Listen carefully. Yeah? If the results that you have, it is not what you desire, then from this call, I want you to make a conscious effort to start thinking better. The goal is for you to know how to think properly. When you know how to think properly, you will take actions that produce your desired results. You will not take actions that will take you away from your desired results. If your thinking causes you to move further away from your desired results, that's not the correct thinking. You're no longer controlled by habits that don't serve you. That one there is a word. That statement right there. Wait. You're no longer controlled by habits that don't serve you. You know what those habits are. Put a yes in the chat. Don't say what those habits are. Put a yes in the chat if you know for a fact what those habits are. And it is things you do that no one sees. It's the things that you do in the dark. You know what those habits are. When you come off of the call with your upline, and you go back to that habit in quiet. You know what that is. So when you get to the level of mastery and you understand how to think, you now take actions that lead to you producing your desired results. And you're no longer controlled by the habits that don't serve you. You have learned the laws of the universe. You understand how science works. For the life of me, how could you believe in how this works? This device. You believe that it works. You don't question that it works, right? You know it works. But you don't take the time to understand the laws that God himself put in place to control heaven and earth. You don't take the time to study the science of that. This is why listen, ladies and gentlemen, listen, this is why I'm so fanatical about studying the mind. And when you study the mind and you understand the laws that govern the heavens and the earth, you now put yourself in position to actually win, right? So you have learned the laws of the universe. You understand how science works. You've used your experience to fine-tune your manifestation techniques. So you achieve one goal after the other. A small percentage of the population reaches this point. However, we all have the mental faculties and capacity to do so. So while there is a small percentage of people that get to this level of mastery, no matter what, every single one of you, God has already given you everything pertaining to life and to godliness. The only thing stopping you from being the captain of your ship is keep studying, keep writing your goals, and focus on what you want, and your awareness will increase. At each level of awareness, the conditions, circumstances, and environment will change. As you adapt to the change, you will then be able to see the next step. You can't see how to get the goal from where you are right now. Stop spending time trying to figure out how you're going to get the goal done from where you are. You just need to take the next step. Steve Jobs, one of the geniuses that graced us on this earth, that God allowed to grace on this earth, he said, you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You could only connect the dots looking backwards. And here's the truth. Here's a peace of mind. You're ready for this? Here's a peace of mind. The peace of mind is that you don't have to know how it is going to happen. Like you're trying to figure out, well, who's going to be the person that's going to join my business that, that one recruit that would just create a massive explosion in your business. You don't have to spend too much time trying to figure out who that person is going to be or worry about it. Worrying don't get you closer to your goals. All right? Trust God. Do these steps here and leave everything else up to God. I'm telling you, it's going to work out exactly the way it's supposed to work out. However, every time you take a step ahead, you will get new results, and then you can see where to go and what to do next. Right now, a higher side of you is urging you to create, and your paradigm is nagging at you, wanting you to stay the same. It's your choice. In life, we either create or we disintegrate. Watch this. In life, we either create or we disintegrate. There is no in between. And here's the beautiful thing. You have the power to choose. You have the power to choose. How many of you have been able to identify what level of awareness you're on? I'm going to make this training available for everyone to go back and watch it. How many of you have been able to identify what level of awareness you're on? Now, let me tell you this. It's a fight. It is a fight to break free from the norm. For some of you, it's generational. Take a moment and look at your family's lineage. It's actually generational for some of you. So money's not everything, but for you to become the first legitimate millionaire in your family, you're going to have to rewire the way that you think. Big time. Big time. You're going to have to rewire the way that you think in order for you to be the first generation millionaire in your family. It's not going to be easy, but it's definitely going to be worth it. And it's not about the money. It's really about the person you become. That's the thing that you'll be most proud of. The human being that you become in the process is what's going to be the most amazing thing. But the fight is worth it. How do I continuously train my thoughts, Gary? We already told you what to do. But every day you have to be on personal development. It cannot be a situation where I just do it every now and then. If you do personal development every now and then, it is not going to work. It is not going to, I'm telling you right now. If you do personal development every now and then, you are not going to break free. You're going to train your mind for a short period of time. And then just because you stop, it goes right back to the old thinking. That's why when people that were in the environment of personal growth and development and they stop because their paradigm was so strong and they never killed that old paradigm, it comes back, and it comes back even worse. This is why I wanted to take the time to express this to you, make you become aware of what is actually going on in the spiritual side of your business. So now that you become aware, you start working on it, but you're not just sitting down and working on the spiritual side in isolation. You have to actually do the physical work in parallel with the work that you're doing in the spirit. So how do we jumpstart our business? I'm not going to stick long again, maybe 5-10 minutes. Okay. I want you to set a goal where you want to be, right? 1 second. Where you want to be. I'm just going to stop the recording here.